Good morning. So, zoom out on there so we can get it all in. I picked this up the other day. It is a Greer 10,000 BTU air conditioner. It's running R410A. So, this was a prime example of a secondary sensor. Show you guys, I'll tear this apart. I like to keep the front cover. This filter here, the screen filter, they can go in the garbage can. So here we have our primary thermocoupler, number one sensor. If you look real close, here we have our tube sensor or secondary sensor. So these two have to be connected together, and basically you'll trick the air conditioning unit into running. We'll do another video on follow-up on how to run one of these STC3008s. I'm really liking those. It's all in one unit. You don't need 2 or 3 different units like Inkbird, and they're cheap to produce. You can build one with a cheap extension cord in about half an hour. But yeah, this thing powers up fine. You might notice the air conditioning won't come on due to the temperature. You can see it's dropping. The only thing goes to 18 degrees, but once you heat those sensors, they're gonna rise and trick the unit into thinking that it's warmer than it is and keep it continuously running. So yeah, this will be the one I'm using in my latest cooler build, and we'll be on to that shortly. Okay guys, so here what I've done here is I've sacrificed a cheap extension cord. All it's going to do is run a light. It's going to trick this unit into thinking that it's hotter than it is. So, we have the STC3008. It has 2 sides to it. They can both be hot. They can both control heat. They can both control cold. They can one control cold, one can control heat. They have 2 supplied temperature probes. They go in, one will go into your evap, which would probably be the first sensor. The second one will be your room temperature sensor. So I'll get to wiring this and I'll show you a step at a time. Okay, here's half the cord, so we'll zoom in on this. So here is my black, my power in. It's going to go to number 1. This is going to jump to number 7. So I'll hook that up and I'll show you that step. Green, I've already connected with a just a coupler, heat shrinkable. I haven't heat shrink it yet. The whites are going to join together and they're going to go to terminal number 2. So I'll hook this up and I'll get right back to you. Okay guys, so there's my sacrificed electrical cord. I have green jumpered. I've made some short pigtails because these take a bit of meat. So my black was jumpered. You saw that in the last section there. Comes in here. It's powering the STC. The other black is coming out of there and powering the first relay. I have a little jumper right there, and then this is my out. That's my out to my outlet end of the extension cord. So green just follows through as it normally would. White, we've just piggybacked it here as well, so it's powering the unit, and we have power to the unit now, which is nice. Then again, there's your 2 separate sensors. One will be the room, one will be your evap. They can be either or, it doesn't really matter. It's just as long as you know what they are. Label them appropriately so you don't get mixed up. This is a really easy device to set up. Matter of jumping a couple of wires in series. So we'll get the light hooked up. I'll pull the sensors out, grab some foil tape and tape those to it and see how we make out. Also note that I cut the heat shrink off very gently with a razor blade. I pulled the tube sensor out of there, so I'll get these hooked up to the light and fire this unit up. Hey guys, so we have that strip sensor taped to it first, wrap of foil, and then the secondary tube sensor taped to the outside. We'll eventually plug it into here, but I'm going to show you. You can see these tubes. Tube here, tube there, tube there. These are just fins in between here. So this section here, like in between here, in between here, in between here. Any of these with a styrofoam, you can see a little styrofoam tray. I've seen ice build up, and it can cause an issue. It's not a problem. It'll build up sometimes up to the first tube. The unit will operate and function as it should, but it can build up to that. It's not an issue. The one thing I have found is that I have to move my evaporator sensor up. So that's the evaporator sensor coming off the STC3008. I have to move it up so that it's not sitting in the ice, which is theoretically zero when you want the unit to shut off. So, you know, pick a spot. You might have to mess around with it. You can actually, I think you can pull these out here. Yeah, you can. So you can pull these out of here. It gives you a good start. You're not going to need those anymore. These are the sensors that were holding the existing thermocoupler for this unit. Gives you a good spot to go. So you can see how those fins are already spread. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and we're going to go in between, and we're going to gently spread, not too much, and spread. And then we're going to take the, I have to untie this while I'm doing this with one hand. We're going to take the evap sensor, hang on for a second. Stick you up there if you'll stay. Couplers that come with it. Take that. I'm going to take that and I'm going to push it gently in that hole. It stays there quite nicely. You can zap strap it or wire tie it to here. And then the opposite one can be in your room. Obviously I'm inside a house, or I'm inside my shop, actually my meat shop, so I'll flash this thing up and I'll mess around with it a little bit. I don't know how the sound is going to be, but here's basically what you need. Here's basically what I did with $3 extension cord. I keep this foil tape on hand. It was a $5 or $6. Pair of side cutters, pair of wire strips, a small screwdriver for the STC connections, a razor blade to strip the extension cord. This is the cover off the light. That's garbage. Those are garbage. A screwdriver, pair of scissors. STC, I think they're about 19 bucks. Nightlight, I buy them 3. They're $7 for a 3-pack, and it's a 7-watt light bulb. So I'll plug this thing in. I'll get right back to you.